Hello, 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 everybody. It is Wednesday. It is 12:30, and I'm wearing my glasses today. Maybe I'll have to take them off, but I am live. So grateful to be here with you all. And I decided to stand because I thought standing might just give me more energy. Do you ever feel like that? So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. And I turned off my comments because I think it's better for me personally not getting distracted with people's comments when I'm doing my live. But and this is something that I normally ask you all when I come on my lives every Wednesday, 12:30, is what one thing have you been afraid to try or do in your life? And you're still not doing it. It nags you. It holds you back from transformation. It holds you back from growth. And you're sitting in the fear. And it would holy moly surprise you if you actually went and did it. And that is something that always astounds me when I get in a situation or I plan a situation. There's times when I get in a situation where I have to move through fear. And there's times when I specifically plan a situation where I have to walk through fear. And that's what we're going to talk about today. This was an unplanned sort of situation where I had to face some fear. And I told you last week or the week before about a planned situation that I had to walk through some big fear. But today, I'm Melissa K. Range. I'm igniting change in people. That's my work. That's my purpose. That's my mission. And I do it through teaching people how to walk through their fear and get into confidence, to be a more confident person, to chase their dreams and desires, to listen to their intuition, to self-care, because we don't self-care enough in our world. And if we did, we would make ourselves a priority and we would know there are things that we definitely are meant to create in our lives. And we're not doing it because we're afraid and we're not taking the action. We're not listening to our heart. And so, on a scale of 1 to 10, when I ask you about fear of something that you want to go after, but you're too afraid, where are you? I would love to know. I know I don't have my comments on right now, but in your head, just think about it. Think about, on a scale of 1 to 10, where am I in that fear-based place? And if that number is really high, then I would encourage you to listen today about my experience. Oh, you can say hi. I must have changed it. I would love to know on a scale of 1 to 10 where you are. If you've got a dream or a desire or a goal or something you want to create, hello, where would you, or what number would you put on the scale between 1 and 10 about how scared you are? How scared you are to do that thing that you want to go after or you want to get? How afraid are you on a scale of 1 to 10? And then let's just say, for example, if you want to go after something or change something in your life, yes, of course, I'm not giving advice. I don't give advice. I never give advice. I give suggestions. I give ideas. I give helpful, what's the word? Yeah, suggestions, ideas, because you know what? I'm one of these people that if you want to change your life, you need to do the action work to make that happen. And only you can do it. And probably you're the only one. What are people going to think of me if I do such and such? What will be their reaction? Or how will they judge me? Well, guess what? I don't care about any of that anymore. Because if I'm going to go after what I want, nobody might want the same thing that I want. And nobody's walking in my shoes. So I'm not giving advice. I'm giving ideas, suggestions, helpful tips. If you are somebody that has a dream, a desire, a goal, a want, something you want to create in your life. Let's just say, for example, you want a new job because you hate your job and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Well, then you're probably going to change something. Hello. And this is the kind of life that I lead. And I'm one of these people that I'm always walking the talk because I know that I have to be an example for other people. And so if I'm going to be an example for other people, I have to walk the talk. I have to walk the talk. Do y'all walk the talk? So maybe you're not scared at all, or maybe you're super scared. And so then, if you could try one thing in the next, let's say, month, if you could try one thing in the next month to push your edge, I like to call it pushing your edge, push your edge, change your perception around this fear, do something to walk through your fear, what would it be? What would it be? And you don't have to put it in the comments. Just think about it for a moment. Maybe write it on a piece of paper. And then, what do you all think of tractors? Do you think it would be intimidating to drive a tractor? Do you think it's intimidating to shoot a gun? Do you think it would be intimidating to do any of these types of activities on a farm, maybe that are typical of farm life? And this is something that I wanted my live to be about today, because once again, what is my channel about? Why do I come on here every week at 12:30? A bird just flew up into my window. Why do I come on here every week, 12:30 Central Standard Time? I come on here to help you all with my own personal stories. Oh, tractors scare you? Yeah, they're quite large. They're quite big. I didn't realize until I got in one. But what scares you? And why aren't you going after the things in your life that you want? And a lot of times, let's say we want a new job. We want to do something different when it comes to our work in the world, but we're too afraid. Oh, thank you. That's so nice. We're too afraid to do it. But you know what? If we start doing the little things add up to the big things. Have you ever heard of small ball? Or you have ever heard of tracking your life? Like, these are the things I learn and listen to. You all, I am constantly into listening to how I can better my life, make my life more easy, per se, hit the easy button. I am all about that kind of stuff. I am not into the frivolous little get myself involved in the life, like the drama of people and the drama of life. I'm not into that, because that's a waste of my energy. And I need to utilize my energy to go after what I want to focus on and create. So this is how the story is going to unfold. And I've got some notes here, and that's why I'm looking at this, because I want to make sure that I talk about this story. And every week I come on here and I tell you all a new story. I tell you all a new story of how I walked through fear. This is so crazy. There are so many birds in my yard. How interesting. I love nature. Nature is a teacher. Nature is constantly telling, oh, good, I'm so glad you finally found someone who cares. That's awesome. There's all these really cute birds in my yard. So this goes back a while. When I had my first job, I met two people, and one of them was a man who was an engineer, and the other one was a human resources person. And I was in corporate America. Were any of you in corporate America, or are in corporate America? Do you like it? Do you hate it? And I was in corporate America. I was very young. This was right out of college. And I met these two people, and I became friends with the guy first, and then I became friends with the woman. And over the years, we've kept in touch here and there, although I had a very big beef with this man. It's a very long story. But needless to say, I really didn't want to reconnect per se with him. But my friend Sheila, the woman who was in human resources, she was now a pharmaceutical rep. Oh, okay. See you next time. Have a great day. And my friend was in pharmaceutical sales, and she was having to go into some places that maybe she felt weren't the safest places to be. As a woman, a petite woman, as a woman she's a very beautiful woman. And so she was nervous. And so something happened to another pharmaceutical rep in the industry who was accosted with somebody with a gun in our area. And she said, I think I need to learn how to shoot a gun, and I think I need to carry a small gun in my purse and have my concealed and carry license. And so what did she do? Of course, she told me, and she told our other friend, who is an expert kind of at guns, because he lives on a farm, or he had a farm, and he grew up hunting, and he studied guns. And so he knew a lot about this stuff. And he had a beautiful 70-acre farm in a part of our area that was, easy for us to go to and easy for us to learn how to shoot guns. So she picked a weekend, and he said, you all can come down here. We will have dinner. We will shoot guns. We will hang out. We will drive around my property on my four-wheelers. And we said, fine. So we drove the hour and a half to get to his place. And he pulled out all these kinds of guns, different kinds of guns that he has licenses for, or that he, that he's got all the paperwork for. I don't even know how it all works, you all. But he had all these guns, and we just were shooting pumpkins and apples, and we were doing this for a while, trying to get a feel for what it is actually like to shoot these guns, different types of guns, how heavy they are. Now, mind you, I have shot what is it called? I have shot a rifle before. I shot cans years ago, but I'd never shot any sort of small guns. And he had some other types of guns. I don't know even, I remember what they were. So we tried a variety of guns, and it was very fascinating. You know, guns are something that they, of course, can be very potentially dangerous. And on the other hand, they can be something that, if you were like my friend, could save your life if you find yourself in a very precarious predicament. And mind you, I had told my friends, this is great. I'm never going to buy a gun. I have children in my home. I don't need a gun. I'm not going to buy a gun. I don't want a gun in my house. And they were really trying to convince me to get they were trying to convince me to get my concealed and carry. And they kept saying, you need to get this, Melissa. You need to get this. You need to get this. And so, needless to say, let me just finish the story. While we were on the farm, my friend, he has these giant tractors, and he thinks it's really cool to see women do things that are kind of pushing their edge, like drive his giant truck that he made me drive when I was like 22. And he is always pushing us, which I like. He's pushing us to get out and try and discover things about ourselves and expand ourselves. And so that's really good. You know, that's what I do for people. And so he said, I want you to get on these tractors over here, and I want you to drive them around my farm. Now, one of them was a very old tractor, and it was not enclosed. It was not like a combine. It was not as big. And so I got on that one. And my friend Sheila, who's just as petite she's a little bit taller than me by about 2 inches. And she got on the other one. And so we start driving these tractors around his property. And we were like, oh my gosh, wow, this is big. This is kind of crazy. And it was fun. It was fun. And then we switched, and I drove the big combine and she drove the smaller tractor. And so it was a good experience. And again, we shot all these guns. We learned about guns. We learned how to hold them. We learned about the kickback. We learned about how heavy they were. We learned about, the magazines and all this stuff and how many bullets they carry, yada, yada, yada. Oh, yeah, I was 22. Wow. No, when I was shooting the guns, this was just like 10 years ago when I did this. But when I was driving his truck around, I was like 22. And I did a lot of other crazy stuff. I'll have to keep doing videos, y'all, because I have really had an active life, a very busy life, a very adventurous life. So I did all this, and we spent some time. And I would love to know, have you done anything out of your realm of what you thought you were capable of? This is the point of my videos. This is how I get you to think about what is possible for you. What can I do in my life that sounds a little scary or nerve-wracking, but it would really push my edge? And there's lots of books. There's lots of resources. I mean, YouTube, my gosh, you all, come on. You can go on these social media sites and you can see people running marathons. You can see people, walking on fire like I did. You can see people doing crazy things to push what we think is our limited idea of ourselves. And our potential is just so amazing. And for the majority of us, it's very untapped. And so let's see. I'm trying to think if I've got other questions. And I want to know, what, besides fear, give me another adjective. Give me something in your vocabulary that you would say holds you back. Is it fear of judgment? Is it fear that you'll get hurt? Is it fear that you won't be liked? Is it fear that you'll fail? What is the fear? A lot of times when we name it, it like dissipates that energy. And so name it. And that's your shadow. That's really your shadow. So name what it is that's holding you back. And then, like I said, give me an idea of a step you could take in the next month around this thing that you're afraid to do, but you want it. It's just knocking on your door every day or every month, and it keeps coming back around, and you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to have to show up for this at some point. And you know what? If you don't show up for it, you're going to have to come back to this life, not this life. You're going to have to come back, and your subconscious is going to say to you, you didn't do X, Y, and Z. And some of it, you all, oh, a beautiful female cardinal just landed on my fence. That means I'm on the right track. So some of this stuff, if you don't do it, you're going to look back and you're going to say, I wish I would have when I'm in my 70s, 80s, 90s. Yes, regret. Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's regret. So if you don't show up and do these things that keep knocking on, aggravating you, that keep nagging at you to do, if you don't do it, you're going to have regret, and you're going to say, I wish I would have, I could have, but I didn't because I was afraid, or I didn't have the money, or nobody would have supported me, or this or that, or whatever excuse you want to make. We're full of excuses, and we can make excuses all day long, but you're still going to be in the same place a year from now if you don't get your butt up and start doing something different. And that's really what I tell myself, is that I know when something comes into my awareness, something that I know I'm going to have to do, maybe I'm really scared of, but I say, you know what? It's knocking on my door. I'm meant to do it. My super conscious is calling me to do it. I want it. Why wouldn't I do it? Even though I'm scared, who can I get to support me? Who can help me walk the fire? Who can hold my hand? Who can I trust that will guide me and lead me to the other side of the fire? And how can I trust myself to do these things? These are all the things I think about. These are all the tools. I journal about it, you all. Get a journal. Start writing down things in your life that you want to do in your life. I want to travel to this place. I want to get a different job that pays me this. I want, this type of relationship with a partner, or I don't want a relationship with this person anymore. Like, what do you want? You really have to name it. You have to get in tune with yourself and really get to know yourself. You're the most important person in your life, and you have to have a relationship with you. Okay, I'm getting a little off tangent. So let's see. And so let me ask you this. How would you describe fear? Because I asked you about fear before. Would you describe it as an enemy, a teacher, or fuel? Let me know in the comments. Would you describe fear as the enemy, as fuel, or as a teacher? I mean, for me, fear is like a teacher, and it's also fuel, because it means, oh, I need to go to the next level. I may be here and I really want to go here. So what is the fear doing for me? It's fueling me to up level. It's fueling me to take the next leap in my life that I need to take to get what I want. I hope that makes sense. And let's see. So if I continue on, after we went to that farm and I drove the tractors and I shot the guns, my friends and I went home, and actually my friend was suffering from pneumonia and I didn't even know it, but I was driving her car home and she was in horrific pain, and I was sending her, what I used to do was Reiki energy healing, and I was sending her some Reiki, and I go, you've got pneumonia. I could already feel it. I could feel it without even touching her. I knew she had pneumonia, and she did. She verified it a few days later. But about a month later, my friend said, okay, now I'm going to get my concealed and carry, and I think you guys should go get your concealed and carry. I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Well, our guy friend said, Melissa, we need to go. I'm going on this date in November. This was many years ago, and I want you to go with me. And I said, why do you keep bugging me about this? I don't want to get my concealed and carry. I don't care about that. But he kept bugging me and saying, let's go do it. Let's go do it. And so finally I succumbed and I went. And actually what's hilarious is I shot better than him in the test. So not only did we have to go to this entire day seminar, which is great because you learn all about gun safety, you learn about the rules and the regulations. You pay, I think we paid a couple $100 for sure. We drove out into the boonies of my area, and we learned all about gun safety and how to hold the guns, what not to do, this and that. It was fabulous. And this guy is a certified trainer. And I think I was only one of 2 women in the group. But then we went out and we actually had to shoot a target, like cans and other things, with our guns. And I actually did better than my friend. I actually shot better than him, which was hilarious. I think he was really nervous being around me. And yeah, I don't know, it was funny. So I think he was trying to impress me. And I was just like, I'm here to do this thing because you made me come do this and I'm getting done with this and that's it. And so I passed the test, I got the paper. And then from there, what you're supposed to do when you get a concealed and carry paper is you're supposed to go to your local uh, county courthouse and you're supposed to actually get the formal license that you are allowed to carry a firearm. And I never went. I never went. I never got it because I told them I'm never going to get a gun. I'm never going to do that. And yeah, that was my feeling back then. I don't know if now I would have one or not. Probably not. My children are older. They're all adults now. So needless to say, that's kind of the story. But I did these things and I was afraid. You know, when you're shooting guns, it's a big deal. It's, you know, it's something, it can be a weapon, it can be a powerful protector. There's all these feelings that were going on within me as we were doing this. And so let's see, I want to ask you, what would make you feel as though you were strong enough to walk through your fear? Like, what makes you decide? You have to decide that you want to do something different. What makes you go for it? Do you finally reach a place, like, does your body respond or react to your fear? And what happens? These are all things that happen for me that I love to teach about. And let's see. These are some other questions. Well, I don't know one of these. Okay, so when we walk through fear, do you think there's a payoff? Do you think there's a payoff? I bet I could hear you talk all day. I subscribe. Literally the most beautiful, mature. Oh, that is so nice. Thank you so much. I have done a lot of work on myself over the years. So hopefully you're into self-transformation or you're into chasing your dreams and your desires and going after what you want. But okay, now I forgot what I asked you. Oh, if you turn fear into fuel, what would you do tomorrow? This is again what I love watching in people. I love watching people transform. I love when my clients come to me and they say, "Oh my gosh, Melissa, you're not going to believe this. I did exactly what we agreed I would do. I made a list of the things that I agreed that I would do to get what I want in life." And they come back like little kids and they're just like, "I did it. Oh my gosh." And then we celebrate what their accomplishments and their achievements. And we celebrate them walking through even the smallest fears. For example, sometimes we have to go say, I was wrong to somebody, or I apologize for my behavior, or I could have done it differently. And have you ever had to do that? You had to apologize to somebody, and it's hard. What was my most fearful situation? Well, I had one a couple weeks ago. If you watch my video, I held the tail end of a black mamba, one of the most deadly snakes in the world, and probably walking on fire after I burned my feet. That was really scary. That was a very fearful situation. I've had many I could tell you, but if you go look at my channel, you can go watch all of the times in my life where I've pushed myself up till now and walked through really scary stuff. Another one was leaving my ex-husband because he was a very big man and he could have squashed me like a grape in a New York minute, and he threatened me. And I was terrified to leave my marriage because I thought, he was very angry. So that was scary. And there's been a lot of times, like just going to Africa a few weeks ago, I didn't know what to expect. I had no idea what I was going to encounter. I thought it was going to be like in a tent out with the lions, you all. And so that was scary. I ended up not being in a tent, and I ended up seeing lions just lying around. But there's been many times. I mean, that's really who I am. Climbing trees to the tippy top, walking on 12 feet of broken glass. And, sometimes even things like going to buy a car by myself, like researching cars and then going to buy a car. That can be scary because you say, oh, I want to get a good deal. I don't want somebody to take advantage of me. So these are things that we all have to do all the time. And we can sit around and we can moan and groan about it, or we can actually go do something to make our lives easier, better, more fun, more exciting, transformational. These are all the things that we're supposed to be doing as human beings. But so much of the time we sit and we wallow in our fear. And yeah, a mamba. Yeah, a black mamba. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, fear always needs to be challenged. You always have. We are here and meant to rise, you all. We are here to push our edge and create and be the most greatest, biggest, highest vision of ourselves. Do you know that? I mean, that's why we're here. And we learn about ourselves through relationship and through relationship to people, places, and things. Like, you don't like where you're working right now. It's not real great. You got a micromanager. I've been there, done that. And you're thinking to yourself, how can I get out of this silly, crazy, junky job? What can I do? And that's when you got to start listening to your intuition. What does your heart want to do? And then you have to shut the door and put duct tape over that part of you, those 60,000 thoughts that say, I can't shoot a gun. I don't know how to shoot a gun. I don't want to hold a gun. It's too heavy. I don't know what type of gun to buy. I don't know where to go to buy a gun. I don't know any of this, or I don't know how to drive a tractor. What if it falls over? What if it crushes me? What if I break it because it's $100,000 tractor? What if I, we can what if all day long. And you're just going to be sitting in the same place next week at the same time, doing the same crummy job that you hate until you retire. And then a few years later, you're like, what am I doing? And you regret you haven't changed it all, and you haven't done all the things that you said you were going to do. And then you die. And that's your life. And you're thinking to yourself, holy crimoly, why didn't I do all of these things that I wanted to do? Why didn't I tell my Aunt Betty that I was wrong for this? Why did I stay in that same crummy apartment that I've been in my whole life because it was convenient, or I could pay the rent there, but your heart desires to go to Africa, or you want to get married and have a family, but you think to yourself, it's never going to happen for me. Like, that's the stuff you got to shut down. You got to shut that stuff down. And how do you do that? It takes a lot of practice. And it takes an energy of focus. Yes, I know. This is what people need to hear because, oh, what's my dream? Okay, my dream. Oh, thank you for asking me. That is so nice. My dream is to be, and I'm already pursuing my dream, one of my dreams, you all. I have many. You can have hundreds of dreams, you all. And I mean big dreams and big visions. And I have a lot of them. And I've lived a lot of them already. But I've got even bigger visions that are going to take my energy and focus. So one of them is to be a paid professional speaker. I have been doing free speaking, not just on YouTube, but I've been doing free speaking for years, just here and there. And I love it. I love speaking. But now I have a PowerPoint, and I have these cards that I have people write on while they're listening to my presentation. I walk on broken glass during my presentation to show people the power of focus. It's a metaphor. So really, my dream, one of them, just one, thank you so much. One of them is to be a professionally paid public speaker making, the big money, because it is what people need to hear. People need to know their potential. People need to know that we all have dreams and desires. And for corporations, it's usually about, okay, you can take my people from fear to confidence. Well, what about the bottom line? What's that going to do for my bottom line? But for the majority of us, and you will find that bottom line to increase when you start and listening to your intuition, and you really self-care and take care of you and focus on what you want for your life. I've learned something about myself recently, and I know this is going off track and I have to get off of here in a few minutes because I'm going to my voice lesson, and I'm practicing Christmas songs already for our Christmas recital. But with our bottom line, when we start living our true dream and we start doing it, and you could even start doing it on the side. So you maybe have a 9 to 5, but you carve out time. You carve out time, you shut out the noise, you focus on that little bit of time, that 30 minutes or 1 hour of taking care of you or focusing on something that you desire to bring to fruition. And trust me, it will come about. It will. But it takes a lot of practice. And I've seen this with myself recently. I've been raising 3 children, and my last child just turned 18 years old. And I've been very focused on equipping my children with tools and tips and resources and people who will guide and support and love them and help them if needed, and whatever they need. I have given them every tool that I've used personally, except firewalking. They haven't done that yet, but I have given them so many resources and things to help them navigate their lives. And my youngest is 18, and they are doing really great. All 3 of them are doing wonderfully, and they know they have all of these, they have all of these tools and resources to make them have happy, successful lives in whatever way they choose, because I'm giving them that freedom. Because remember, somebody said, do I give advice? Now, I don't give advice, but if my children ask me for help or support or a suggestion, I always give them that. But I don't spew it out. Although when they were little, I did force them to go to certain things because I wanted them to see how capable, and I pushed them. I pushed my own children into situations that would push their edge in a gentle way, but in a loving way. But this is how I also work with my clients. And I'm going to have to get off here in a minute, but I hope I answered your question. Yes, I did. I told you about one of my dreams. I would love to know your all's dreams about your career or something that you want to do in your life that really impacts humanity. It makes a difference not only for you, but in service to others. What is something that you could? Oh, yay, I'm so glad. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to put in the chat finally, like, name a habit that helps push you from fear to confidence. Name something that you feel like you do on a daily basis that really helps you to get into that zone of pushing your edge. Maybe you've got something, maybe you don't, but maybe it's something you need to think about. Okay, onward, I want to just say, oh, good. That is a good one. That is a really good one. What I want to say finally is I created a women's program. It's called Find Your Fire, because I'm a firewalk instructor and I'm a Leo and I love fire. I'm a pyromaniac. Anything to do with fire, I'm all about it. So I created this women's program. It's a 5-module program. It's self-paced. You do it online. You can start it at any time and work through it. I created it because it's pretty much what I have experienced about how I go from getting, wanting something to getting it. And sometimes I don't even realize what it's going to help me to do when I do it. And that's really, that's a good one. Really deep breathing. That is really good for you. And so I created this Find Your Fire program. It's online. If you go to my website, www.reclaimrebuildrestore, you will find my program on there, and you just sign up. You do it at your own pace. And it's amazing because I've walked many women through it, and they're just like, wow, I didn't realize how much I would change or how much I would get out of this or how supported I would feel doing this program. And that's why I created it, because I wanted to bring all of my wisdom and all of my knowledge into something that people could do in the privacy of their own home at their own pace. And so my Find Your Fire program is all online, and that is something that I offer. It's an evergreen thing, and you can sign up at any time. And that's just a little side thing, because now I want to hold workshops. No, there's no certain age for the program. And I say 40 plus for women, but what I'm finding, actually, I've got a lot of women that I'm friends with in their 30s. And they're always like, Melissa, like, what have you done to become so wise? And what, well, I'm a little older than them, but at the same time, I've walked through so much fear, and I've got many certifications. And this last program I did was a mastermind, and we created a program for people around something that we have a passion about. And I have a passion with helping women to become more empowered, more in love with themselves, more attuned to what they want in life. And that was because that's where I was stuck years ago in not knowing what I wanted. And it was because I was in this marriage, and I could go on and tell you so much. Thank you so much. But I have to go to my voice lesson in a couple of minutes. So, needless to say, that's the program. And then please like and share. If you like this video, share it with somebody and subscribe and all that stuff, because I know that I have a lot of, thank you so much. Okay, next week, Wednesday, 12:30 Central Standard Time. And like somebody else said, I know we all have a lot of fear around certain things, and it's always good just to be around somebody or listen to somebody. Oh, you're welcome. That is high vibration, that wants the best for you, that wants to support you. So thank you so much. All right, you all, you have a great day, and I will look forward to connecting with you next Wednesday. See you soon.